Have you ever been on a podcast before?
No.
So it's your first time?
Yeah.
Man, that's the best. Everybody, this is Knives Monroe. Oh my God, did you feel that? Holy shit. Hold on.
I stopped my... Can't really lean on it.
Did you see? The first thing I did was lean on it, so I'm not going to lean on it.
That's what I'm like, trying to stay away.
I think it's going to be all right.
Okay.
I think we got this. Feel free to, I say eat the mic, so feel free to keep it a little closer to, not eat, literally eat it, although you could if you wanted, but you have to pay me back. Just have it a little close, because this sounds good right here.
1, 2, 3, yes.
Sounds great. Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is Knives Monroe. You're listening to the podcast. This is the first podcast of 2019, and I'm with someone. It's the second time that we've met. Her name's Alondra Leon. Did I say it right?
Yes.
And thank you for being on the show. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm blessed. Thank you for inviting me. It just happened out of nowhere, which I'm glad.
So
on the spot.
what happened was, I guess, see, it's because Alondra is Instagram famous, right? And she posted that she was here in Austin, Texas, and last time I talked to her, she was in Los Angeles. So I was like, wait a second, are you here right now? And you're like, yeah, let's do something creative. And now we're recording a podcast in Austin. So I'm glad we were able to do this. You're someone that fascinates me. I've said it many times that your Instagram game is on point. And because of that, I mean, we're here right now. So what brings you back to Austin? To Austin.
Well, it's New Year's. I wanted to be with my family and friends. And I was like, you know what? I want to be there for 2019. I want to start off with my friends and my close family. So I'm like, I'm just going to go and do it. So 3 days prior to New Year's, I bought the ticket. And then now I'm here. And now I'm with you.
Wow. That's awesome. So when are you going back?
I'm going back on Saturday.
Saturday. That's cool. And where are you going back to?
North Hollywood, which is in California. It's like 45 minutes away from LA.
Damn, that is cool. And so do you have anything booked for 2019? Like what's on the horizon, or is it you're just going to go with the flow? Go with the flow for sure. But my goal is to be on a Netflix TV show or just any type of show, like on whether it's on Hulu or just like on a TV show for sure. That's like one of my main goals and what I'm like striving to go for. That's awesome. So obviously you're an aspiring actress. For those listening, they may not know. When did you get bit by the acting bug? Okay, so last year I did this missionary experience 1 year, which I had no phone for a year. I could not speak to my family, friends for a year, only 10-minute phone call each month. And in that year, we would do a lot of plays. Just plays for families, for teenagers, just all types of plays. And little by little, I'm like, whoa, like this is something I love. This is something I enjoy. This is something that my soul feeds off from. And I'm like, I can't explain my feeling when I'm entertaining people, whether it's plays or just like talking to them or just, I don't know, just in the entertainment, my soul is like hungry for that. So I feel like now, like, we get hungry, like, physically we get hungry, and then we eat, and we get satisfied. But with acting, that's how it works with my soul. Like, I'm just so hungry for that thing, for that food that my soul is just, like, craving so much. So I got done with that, moved back to Austin, and then from that, it was, like, three months. I'm like, I need to move to LA. Why LA? Because there's so much opportunities. Yes, there's so many competition and stuff. I understand that, but seeing so much people so creative and like so many people that are talented makes you even push yourself even more. And just being around with creative people makes you even more creative, or more like, okay, it gives you more of a feel and like an idea. So yes, I understand like LA is very competitive, very hard, but if you're hungry for it, you're going to find food no matter if it's at McDonald's or like fancy places. You're going to find food because you need that food to survive. And that's my happiness. So I'm like, I'm going to move to LA, find that thirst that I have, that food, that feel that my soul needs to survive and be happy. So then I moved to LA not knowing pretty much anybody. My roommates, I found them this app. So they get like background check, and I Skyped them like 2 or 3 times.
And I was like, okay, so I have a place, and then I found a job. So it's like, okay, so I have a place and a job. That's all I need to start off with. And luckily enough, I had my car, so I drove over there.
You drove over there?
Yeah.
Wow.
I drove over like 23 hours. So
by yourself?
I had a friend. He went, and then he flew back.
That's very nice of him.
Yeah. Like,
that's really cool. That's a good friend.
Thank you. Yes, because 23 hours on the road. Like.
And then he flew back.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
So I have those 3 things. So I'm like, okay, the rest is, as long as I have those 3 things, I'm good. So I moved, and then after that, I just started reaching out to people and just finding my way. And so far, I've been there 4 months.
Wow.
4 months. If you avoid like traffic, parking, and gas prices, I love LA. Yeah. Those are the 3 things that I'm just like, oh.
The traffic is real.
It's real.
I went to San Diego a couple months ago, and that was my only complaint about it. It's not as bad as Hollywood, as downtown LA or whatever, because you see the photos. But yeah, the California traffic is crazy. Do you see yourself? How long do you see yourself there until you make it happen? Until you crack open that coconut and you eat?
Yes, but I'm giving myself like no more than like 4 years, or like no more than 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Or I want to make it in this year, and max 2 years for sure.
Why? Why so short? That's a little bit.
It's short, but I know I can make it, because like if you're hungry, you're not gonna wait until like, you know.
Yeah. Why be like, I'll give it till 40? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or like people.
You're putting that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, like I have to. There's no like, oh maybe. No, I have to.
Now, first of all, just so the listeners understand, you and me have met once. We met at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. One thing that I find very interesting about you, and it's a little new to me, I guess, is your willingness to just say yes to anything, any opportunity that comes your way, any adventure. You take the call to adventure every single time. I think that already puts you miles above most people who say they have a dream. You actually are scraping and clawing to get to your dream. And that's the first impression I had of you when I met you, was that. And I was like, wow. And you always stuck in my mind because of that. Once again, your Instagram is fire. So when you were in LA or wherever you are, even I see photos, I think, from like New York City and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm going to be able to say, like, I knew her before she was famous, right? So you kind of always stuck to me. That was your first impression. And I see that now, and I see that you're still hungry, and I think that's amazing. So just to kind of set that expectation to the audience, like that's who I'm sitting across right now, someone who's very hungry. Say you get the audition, you get the role, and you get a pilot, and you get a show, and it's on Netflix. You're going to work a season, right? What happens after that?
Get more work.
More work.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But eventually, one of my like ultimate dreams is whenever I have that voice where I can influence people, I would like to open my own little camp. Like a summer camp. Like just a summer camp, like maybe like 1 month summer camp for girls, because that's who I can relate to, and I think that's who I can help with. 1 month, like without no phones, and for them to like have a community within girls and say like, hey, I feel this way. And sometimes with a lot of people, that's what happens. They feel like they're the only ones struggling. They're the only ones that feel like that they're the only ones that are lost. But in reality, if you look right, left, everybody's feeling that way. No matter, it's a different type of like feeling, but it's the same like lost feeling. So if I can create like a camp for girls to create a community, and after that camp be like, oh, I'm feeling sad, let me text her. Like she's in the same like state, like she's my neighbor, you know, like let's get together. So that camp, I want to create a community and for them to find a little bit more about themselves and who they like and like what they like about themselves, what their passion is. Because I feel like now in society, it's like go to school, do this and that. It's like this circle, right? And they don't allow kids to be creative. Maybe they're going for like this degree just because somebody said so, or because they're going to be comfortable with that degree in the future compared to somebody who wants to be a singer or a comedian. They don't have that guarantee that that job is going to pay their bills, but it's going to pay like their soul and it's going to make them happy. Like there's so many people that I've met that they are wealthy or that they have a good degree, but at the end, they're not happy. So I feel like the purpose in life is to find your true passion, your true vocation, follow that, even though it's scary. But at the end, you're gonna be so happy. You're gonna be filled with this joy that you're not gonna explain. You're not gonna be able to explain it.
How did you learn that?
How did I learn that?
Let me ask you something. How many birthdays have you had?
I'm 22.
Okay. So you picked up the game real fast. I think I'm only barely now realizing that, to be honest. And so that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, right? Is to connect with more like-minded, hungry people, creatives. I wish I had that information and that confidence when I was 22. I certainly didn't. Where did you learn to find your vocation, your passion, and that will ultimately be fulfilling to you?
Don't get me wrong. I'm still kind of like lost between like my true passion, but day by day I'm learning. Like I know what I want, but I'm still finding. So this is how I see it. So I have a blank piece of paper in front of me, right? And I have so many colors, even colors that don't exist. I have them, and I have a paintbrush. Now here I am trying to see what I want to paint, what I want to show the world, or what I want to influence to inspire the world. So I'm just here like, should I paint with blue, with pink? Should I just leave it blank and let the world wonder, But to answer your question, I don't know.
Do you think, you kind of casually mentioned that you did what did you call it? Like a retreat?
A missionary experience.
Tell me more about that. Did you find that there, or did you feel this way before that?
Before that, for sure.
Wow.
That I wanted to do it because I feel like God has blessed me so much. And I'm like, if I can just give him 1 year to show him like, hey, I'm very thankful for all the blessings. I want to give you this year so I can help people. So that was more like for me, like saying, hey, God, thank you so much. And I want you to see that I'm very appreciative of all the blessings, small, big.
Did you get feedback from God about that year?
Feedback. What do you?
Did you get some sort of confirmation or peace, or I don't know? How did you know that God was cool with that?
Cool with that?
The 1 year. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did you walk away from that? Like, how did you know that was finished?
Oh, that was finished? Well, before I said yes, so I went to this retreat, right? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, there's this missionary experience that you do this, you live home, family, no money, nothing. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, but it's in next week. Like, next week you have to fly and say bye. So I was like, oh my goodness, like, what do you mean? Like, okay. So I thought about it. I meditated. And that retreat, it was a 3-day retreat. And then I got home and I'm like, Mom, Dad, they had bought me some shoes for work. But I'm like, Mom, Dad, I don't need these anymore. They're like, what do you mean you don't need them anymore? Like, yes, you do. Like, look at your shoes. I was like, well, there's this missionary experience, blah, blah, blah. I told them. And they're like, did we do something wrong? Are you okay? Why are you leaving? And I just told them, like, no, like, I just want to do it because it feels right. And I want to follow my intuition. And I just want to help people. And they're like, oh, okay. They're kind of like, they're like, no, don't go. But I ended up leaving. And in that year, I just found myself, I think. And I found that there's so many religions in this world. There's so many beliefs. There's so many. But I realized that every religion, every culture has a truth behind it. And at the end, it's just be kind and love one another. That's it.
I agree.
So now now that I finished with that, I'm like, okay, God, I know that in this world we're meant to love one another. I know that for a fact. Like nobody can take that away from me. We're here to love one another and love yourself especially. So I'm like, I got that answer in that year. Like just love, love, love.
Wow.
And now I want to influence or show people like, be happy. Why? Because you're here, like just yourself. You should be happy with who you are. And I know it's very easy to say, but if I can find a way to like not just say it, but to show it, that's what I want to do. And if I can influence people by like, I don't know, by Instagram or just goofing around, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. I think people feel that way, but they don't have the guts, or maybe they don't have the information to act on it. So where did you, I guess you are blessed in that you had an opportunity to go serve, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had that opportunity to do so. Where do you receive your information? Like now you had a call to LA and you knew that was the place because that's the land of the giants. Like all the best come from there, actors, professionals. And I do agree. Like if I was an actor, I'd be in LA right now too. Where do you get, what influences you to make these big decisions to leave home time and time again? Like it takes a lot of guts to do that, but where are these opportunities coming from and how do you know when to take them?
So I know you asked before, like, where did I get all this information? And to be honest, like, since I was little, I would observe a lot. I would observe, like, especially from grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would, like, analyze, like, just observe them and see, like, okay, why are they thinking like that? Or why are they doing this? Or even, like, me driving, I would just, like, observe people, like, homeless or just, like, kids. And I'm like, I wonder why they're smiling or I wonder why they're doing this. So... And I would always ask so many questions.
That's good.
Because I'm like, information is so expensive. Like, if you go to college and you're trying to buy a book, and that's information, like a book contains information, they're so expensive. Information is so expensive.
That's right.
But thank God, like, adults, they like to give you advice. But that's like wisdom.
That's right.
So when I was little, like I would just talk to adults and be like, ask them like I wasn't really searching for any like certain like answers.
Right.
I was just like asked just random questions.
Yeah.
And then they would tell me, and then little by little, all this wisdom from grown-ups, from just random people, like I would ask them, and I guess that's how I got my information.
Really?
Because I got it from like their own experiences.
Yeah.
So sometimes I can relate to older people, not through my experiences, but from stories of people that have told me how they felt.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like I can feel what they feel.
100%.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed that on the drive over here, you were asking me a lot of questions.
Yeah.
People don't do that. That's not really common. I do that actually. Like when I'm around certain people, if I feel comfortable, I want to know. I have these big questions and I kind of feel like a pest, me personally sometimes, but I want to know because I look at their experiences or their answers as like jewels, as gems, and I keep them and I'm like, I'm going to hold on to this because this may come in handy one day. And now I know that I guess that's kind of what you were doing in the car. You were asking me about making a movie and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. She's being really nice and asking me, but now I know, man, she's collecting data.
Well, not data,
but not in like a robotic way.
Yeah.
But in a way of like you're genuine, you have the passion of curiosity.
Yeah. Right.
And that's really unique. I feel like I don't see that much often anymore. People asking questions. And I think you ask and you shall receive.
Mm-hmm. There's this guy, he's like, you're very curious. I'm like, yeah. He's like, but you know the saying like curiosity killed the cat? But I'm like, well, the cat has like 7 lives. I'm like, so I have like 6 left.
There you go.
Know?
Yeah.
So, but yes, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, you never know. Like,
you never know. How many times has that paid off?
I want to say like a lot.
A lot? Like how would you say 50% of the time or more?
More than 50% for sure.
Can you give me some examples?
Some examples? Oh my God, there's so many that. Okay, like some examples where I said yes.
Where some, I guess there was an opportunity or you said yes.
Yes. Okay, so like let me think about LA. Okay, so in LA, this is fun fact. They invited me out to this bar. So
who's
like,
they?
My friends. Like
cool.
I met some friends. It's like a Domino's effect. Like
nice.
My coworkers. And then they're like, oh, let's go to this bar. I was like, oh, okay. So we went and we were just sitting at the bar, and there was this bottle called like Hollywood, and I'm like, oh, look at the bottle. Like, that's very interesting. And the guy, like, next to me, that was his brand. Like, that was his bottle.
Oh, really?
So he's the one that, like, made it and everything. But we were just making fun of it. Not making fun of it, but we were, like, kind of like, oh, I wonder, like, who did it. And then he's like, oh, that's my bottle. Do you like it? And we're like, no way. Like, that's your bottle? Yeah. Like, he's like, yes, blah, blah, blah. I do this. So then I met him. So now we want to work on a project together. Wow. So that's where I could have said, like, no, like, I'm tired. Like, I don't really want to go. But I'm like, okay, YOLO. Like,
yeah.
Say YOLO, but balance. I want to say like balance is a key too.
Yeah. So how do you balance the YOLO?
How do I balance the YOLO? Like do fun stuff and say yes, but also be aware of like the situation. Like if you're gonna go to an event, okay, well Google the event, like who's gonna be there. Send your mom, your dad, or your friends like your location.
You do that?
Yes, I always send my location to either my mom or like my roommates.
It's very smart.
Like send your location, like be aware who's gonna be there, like think ahead before you go there. You know, so say YOLO but be aware of your situations. Or like when like I don't know, YOLO to say like I don't know, like give me an example like where you can say YOLO. Like
would you ever go skydiving?
Yeah, but okay, skydiving, right? Go and look at the reviews of the center and like, okay, are they safe? Are they this? Do they like double check the equipment? Do you know? Is the weather gonna be good? Or,
that's right.
You know, or even if you don't know what to ask, just Google what should I ask, you know?
Dude, that is an amazing observation. Yes, I believe in you ask intelligent questions, you get intelligent answers. You know what I mean? So that's what it comes down to, is asking those questions. Yeah. I got to get better at that, to be honest, because I kind of just wing it. Like I'm not going to know until I get there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's where it's the YOLO without the balance, because sometimes you get there and it's no good. Yeah. So that's really smart observation. I'm glad that you do that. Let me ask you, I want to ask you a few questions, because I love, I make movies as well, and my favorite part about it is directing actors. Not that I am responsible for the performances, I'm not, but I just like being there and watching it like right there. So what are you doing research-wise, or how are you learning about the craft of acting? How are you? What angle are you approaching that from? Where are you getting your information? How are you applying yourself and being better at that?
For acting, well, on TV, like commercials, like on TV, I observe the commercials on TV. Like like if Walmart has a commercial, like I'm like, okay, like how did they do it, or like what girl did they cast for that role? So that's Walmart. Okay, then there's one about Target that comes up on TV. Okay, like Target used a different type of girl. Like I wonder why, or like, you know, what ethnicity or this, or are they looking for slender people, or like, so I'm like, okay, Target usually casts this type of girl. So I'm like, maybe I should like target.
Oh wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Of like, if there's this company, but they're casting like a different look, I'm not gonna go an audition for them, because it's like, okay, their previous commercials is like not even me, so I'm not even gonna.
I see.
So even at the mall, like you walk and then you see advertisements, so I'm like, okay, they picked this girl, or this is their like brand. Yeah. Do I fit with that brand?
Yeah.
So it's not more like going online. It's more like seeing what's in real life, like daily basis. Like I've just observed, like, okay, like this is what
are some brands or companies that are currently casting Alondras out there?
Thankfully for me, I get this a lot. I have very like what do you say, like my look can go either way.
What does that mean?
How do they say it? My look is very, like, I can be edgy, but I can be sweet. It's very marketable.
Okay.
So, like, just with a little bit more makeup, less makeup, hair up, I'm very, like, targetable.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that.
Sure.
But I do follow, like, Jessica Alba a lot. Because they say I look like her. I've gotten that a lot. So, like, I try to see her life since day one. Like, how did Jessica Alba get to where she is?
Have you studied her career?
Yeah, and not only her career, but even when she was little, she was very like a businesswoman.
Was she? She's an entrepreneur now, right?
Now, yeah, she has her line, To Be Honest company, which is like a 1 billion like company.
Does she?
Yes.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
So like, and even if people like, and they're curious about like, oh, I want to be a boxer and stuff. Well, don't look at it now. Like, go back to the roots.
Of course.
Or like, who did they interact with? Yeah. Or when I went to a concert, like a J. Cole concert, I'm said,
jealous.
Yeah.
Was it awesome?
It was good. It was
That's
lit.
Cool. I'm gonna keep recording. Okay. Go on, please. Tell me more about J. Cole, please.
So I went to J. Cole, and he said something. He said he got to where he was because he would even become friends with like the janitors. Like the people that, you know how it's like a pyramid, like a ladder.
Absolutely, people at the bottom.
He wasn't reaching out to the people that were on top. He was reaching out to the people who were at the bottom. And it was like a ladder, like you meet them and then they know the next person. So it's like that with anything, just, you know.
Have you ever read that the way you treat people, like character is the way you treat people who can do nothing for you?
I haven't read that book.
I think that's true.
Okay.
And I've noticed the people, like you had mentioned that you've met people who've succeeded. They got the business degree, they got the whatever, the money, but they're not fulfilled. So therefore, that's failure, you know? And then there's people who have made it at the top, whatever, but the way they treat people, like that's real wealth. You know what I mean? And J. Cole always strikes me as a very thoughtful person, you know? And it doesn't surprise me that he would say that, but his music kind of, it feels like it comes from that too, like very grounded, you know what I mean? Down to earth.
Like very authentic.
Yeah.
Like his lyrics.
And that stuck with you, huh?
Yeah. So
that's very true.
I was like, okay, so I'm going to do that. So that's how I learned, like, not information, more like wisdom.
That's very smart.
So that's how, like, now that I see it, I'm like, okay, like, yeah, that's true. Like, what book did I read? But it's that. It's just people have taught me.
Yeah.
And I feel like in our generation, especially, like, young kids, we take advice for granted. And even, like, parents. And they will provide the best advice ever. They're going to save you so much. But even me, like, I'll be like, yeah, mom, dad, yeah, for sure, you know everything, right? It's like, but now that I think of it, like, mom and dad are always right. And the best thing is that they want the best for you. So they're not going to give you bad advice.
Yeah.
And not only parents, just, like, older people, they know what they're talking about. Trust me, like, they know what they're talking about. And I enjoy talking to older people, like grandmas and grandpas, because their stories are very true and they've seen so much. And at the end, I feel like a lot of, like, older people is like, just do it, because now I'm like 98 and I wish I would have done that. So every time I get scared to say yes or no to something, I'm just like, I don't want to be taking my last breath saying, I wish I would have done that.
That's right.
So I'm just like, you know, you only live once. Keep balance. Live it in a safe way, but don't be scared, you know?
Absolutely. You know, I've always looked at life. I grew up with, like, I got all my gems and information from movies, right? And you always see that character or that, you know, who goes back in time and wants to change the way something was. I look at myself like, well, I'm like a time traveler and I'm in the present. And so how do I want to make this right now? And I base my decisions off of that. And sometimes that means swallowing your pride and picking up the phone and making the phone call and saying, I'm sorry first. Because if you don't want to look back and say, I should have did that. You know what I mean? So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Dang. That's deep, man. So you said that you target specific businesses and brands that are going for Alondras, right? What about once you get there to the audition? How many auditions have you been able to go to in Los Angeles?
I've gone to like 10, just because we were talking about my DACA thingy.
That's right.
Couldn't make really
That's true.
auditions, so I was waiting for that.
Did you think about that before you got there?
Yes, but on auditions, it's good to get the, like, to make it and to get the, yeah. But then again, you never know who's going to be to your right or to the left, or like, you know, you never know who you're going to meet, or at least for them just to see your face. I think that's what it is too. It's good to
that's a really good point.
Put your face out there, like, no matter what, put your face out there, like, keep knocking.
Show up,
just show up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it didn't go very well, but maybe you're walking home or something and then you run into somebody. Crazy stuff happens, man. Like, there's some crazy stories that you never know. Like, just get out there. Don't stay home. Just get out there. Even, like, if you're feeling, like, sad or, like, you don't know what to do with your day, okay, go study at a library. You never know who you're going to meet at the library. Or go walk. You never know who you're going to see walking. Just get out there.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like even for me, sometimes I'm like, I just want to stay home, be cozy, be relaxed. But no, just, you can relax at the end. Like, you can take time for yourself at the end, but just put your face out there. And I feel like on Instagram too, like, they keep posting, or what's his name? Casey?
Neistat.
Yeah, the
Really?
YouTuber, right? He's like,
Sorry.
a lot of people asked him, like, how did you make it? And he said, just post.
Yeah.
And that's true with everything. Just post.
I think, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm trying to get better at it myself. I've gotten better at it last year, and I'm trying to get even better at it. Is there's such a, and I think it's like for my generation, an old school thing of like trying to make the perfect thing. And it doesn't really effing matter. It's about just consistency and volume and more and just posts, like you said. Sometimes, I mean, what's the point of trying to put so much effort into one thing? And then, I mean, it's the internet, right? So people consume like on an hourly basis. Like it's always the right time on the internet. And so I'm trying to get better at that too. And are you conscious of how many times you post on Instagram? Are you ever like, holy shit, it's been 5 days or 3 days, or do you not let it go that long? Or
I think I should be more aware, but I just post whenever like.
Really?
Like I'm like, okay, I feel like posting. So
So you never pay, but also you're like a hashtag queen as well. So how much thought has gone into that?
To that, it was more like a marketing. So I did research, like, okay, what do people like actually do?
That's awesome.
You know?
Yeah,
so I was more like,
because
with anything, it's like a business. Whether you want to be an actor, a model, a chef, a DJ, everything.
Do your research.
Everything is business. Everything is business. Like, you're not going to make it out of like, you know, you have to research. You have to see like, okay, this is who I want to target, or this is me. Do I like it? You have to play with it. Be playful. Just with anything. Anything is like a business. Think ahead. That's right. You know, but also thinking about like the present. Like I feel like with marketing or just like being an entrepreneur, that's what it is. Think ahead, but also think like right now. Because if you're just focusing on the future, then what's happening in the present, like
you're gonna miss it.
If you're just thinking about the present, you're gonna miss the future. So it's just balance. You have to focus on both and see like, okay, is this gonna work out, or what's gonna be trending and like next month. So with everything, and that's why we're so blessed to have like technology. Like if you don't know what to do, you can always just go on Google, go on YouTube, go on Facebook, go anywhere and just type. Just a simple question like, how do I get started? Or what's popular, or how do I do this? So we're very blessed to have Google, you know. Back then, we would have to go to the library and, you know, but now it's just, you can pull up your phone and be like, okay, what is...
On the toilet.
Yeah, we found this place. Exactly. We found this place like, what, in like 10 minutes?
Yeah, real fast.
So that's why we're like very blessed.
And I think that's your advantage if you choose to use it. I think there's still some people that reject it for whatever reason, but I think that's only going to hurt them and hurt their career and hurt their money at the end of the day.
It's a blessing and a curse, because if you use it like for knowledge and stuff, it's good, but then even myself, like sometimes we're just on our phones like 24/7, and that's a curse, you know.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Do you get those reports of how much times you're on your phone?
No.
You don't get those?
No.
Oh, man, because I get those, and I'm like, wow, I was on my phone 5 hours a day?
Like, no way. Like, I'm so sorry, but there's no way.
Yeah, I call them, and I'm like, I'm sorry, no, this isn't correct.
False information. But yeah, and I feel like it's bad, too, because the thing is, we're kind of like comparing ourselves to the guy who's in the screen. Like, whoa, they have a perfect life. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness, they're going this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, and then we get depressed. And then that's where we're like, okay, like, you know. But then again, like Instagram, or they're not gonna post their bad days, you know. And
do you think we should?
I don't know if we should, but I would want to. And that's no.
Do you think it would hurt your brand?
No, I just don't want to, like, if I'm having a bad day, I wouldn't want somebody to look at my post and them have a bad day because of my post.
I see.
You know, so like even when I'm having a bad day and I'm talking to somebody, I won't let them know that this happened to me, just because I don't want to make their day go bad. Or them like, oh my goodness, like I feel bad for you. Like I try to avoid that.
I see. You know, that's something that's been on my mind a lot lately, is controlling the perception of how people see us, right? So that's kind of what you're doing, is you don't want people you want them to see you in a certain way all the time, even if it's not the way it is all the time.
Because I feel like your vibe is contagious. So if you go to a room and you're like sad, then they're going to become like not as joyful.
You think it's contagious on the internet too?
I think so. No.
I trust you
because
I mean,
don't trust me.
I trust you because your generation, 22 years old. You were born in what 2000? No.
I was born in 1996.
96. So you've been with the internet your entire life.
Kind of. I got my first phone junior year.
Okay.
So not
what
really.
year was that?
Oh, 2013. Like I didn't really have like a phone.
Okay. But what about
like
access to the high-speed internet?
That was when like more like sophomore year, freshman year.
Okay.
But I still with my brother like we would play with rocks and mud.
Oh, those are the days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was a good time to be on the internet, or were you still too young?
I'm very blessed that I had like rocks to play with my brother.
That's good.
And like outside with my friends, because I feel like I got both.
That's
like,
good.
I got to be creative with stuff that we didn't even have. We're like, okay, we don't have TV. Well, let's go outside and like play our own games, you know?
That's right.
But then like as I got older, I got the internet. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the internet came into my life the right time.
Perfect.
So I didn't miss out on like the nature and like the air, you know?
Mm-hmm. I can't even remember. Actually, I can remember the internet where you were still anonymous. Like you could still say something, do something, put something out there, and nobody knew who you were. Yeah. Now they know your first name, their last name. They know the city you live in. They know where you work because you put that information out there, right? Like that's a little tricky. Yeah. I'm trying to get better about posting stuff because it doesn't have to be the most important thing. Like now I'm getting more comfortable at like posting a meme, but I would never do that before. Or posting like a screenshot. Like I would never do that because it just seemed like not real content to me. But the truth is like the content is, well, KNIVESMONROE posted that. That's the only piece that matters apparently. And so I want to pick that up before it's too late because you remember Vine.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not on, right?
No, it's not. Okay. They closed the app. But when Vine came out, I was one of those snobs that was like, I don't like this. This is not like real creativity to me. And now like I should have been on Vine and I regret that. And so now I feel that way about other things like Twitter, even though I don't like Twitter and Instagram. I'm like, you know, this is cool. Like I want to let me back it up right now. Let me prove my worth right now while people are on this thing. The platform doesn't matter, you know. You're the thing that needs to go out there and perform. Do you feel a pressure to perform? Like, do you notice other people that are your age who feel that pressure to put on a performance on the internet?
Like for them to want to post pictures because other people are posting? And
also in a way that's like, here's this better version of me. That's kind of like a form of acting in a way. Like
a brand?
Yeah.
Brand. To be honest, like for me, I just post for me.
Really?
Like if I like the picture and I want to like capture it and just like, okay, I like this picture, I'm going to post it for me. And that's what like YouTube, like I've been wanting to like start a YouTube channel, but I didn't know what to post or like about what. But then I'm like, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel for me. Like I don't know if you ever watched like Good Luck Charlie, and it's basically like she does like vlogs, and then at the end it's like giving advice to her sister. So I want to do that, but for my kids in the future.
Yeah.
So like just vlog about like whatever's going on or my adventures, but at the end like, okay, this advice. And when I'm not here on Earth, like they can watch it and be like, oh, that's mom. Like,
that was grandma. Yeah.
Like this is her. Like this is what she would do and stuff like that. But with your question, I feel like yes, people, and even sometimes myself, we feel like not pressure, but more we overthink. Like, should I post it? Should I not post it?
Do you think that's important? Has there ever been like, oh, I should have never posted that?
Maybe back then, yes.
Okay.
Where I was like, oh.
Like now, do you really think that's important? Or are people thinking like, this might not be good enough?
I think this might not be good enough.
That's scary.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but I think if you're coming from the place of the intent like you are of, I'm just doing it for me, well then it'll always be good enough, right? That's good.
So now I feel like Now it's more like I'm just going to do it not for anybody, just for me. Like, I'm trying to live my life just like, not in a selfish way, but I'm going to do it for me, you know? Absolutely. It might come out like selfish, but when I say it, it's more like I'm going to go for a run for me, or I'm going to go out for me. I'm going to go out like not caring if somebody is going to judge me, or not caring if somebody's going to like look at me weird or not. Like, if it's, I'm going to do it for me, regardless if it's weird, regardless if it's like not normal, regardless if I want to go on my, like in my pajamas to Walmart, I'm going to do it. And now I'm not going to care like if people are staring at me, because you're not wearing them, like, you know? So for sure, I'm trying to live my life like more like not caring of what other people say, but then again, keep balance, because it's good to like hear and listen to what people want to like tell you and let you know, because it might be useful, but it's just balance, like, you know.
I think that's powerful, like doing that for you. That's really powerful. I feel like I hang out with a lot of people who do it for the gram. That's why they're doing it.
Or like they do stuff to please other people, or to make sure like, oh, I want him to like me, or I want to get accepted.
Yeah.
So
or I want to stunt on this person because I know this person's going to watch it and I want them to be like, wow.
Yeah. So I feel like that's going on a lot. And it's like, I want to be accepted. I want to feel like part of a crew. I want to just feel part of something. So they change who they are, and they change so much, and they get used to that fake person that they are, that they forget, whoa, like I actually like doing this, or I like this, and this is me.
Have you seen that happen?
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen that a lot.
A lot? Even, I'm not trying to judge LA, but even before LA?
Yeah.
Really?
Like even here, like I feel like if you ask somebody like...
Do you mean people that you grew up with?
Not grew up with, like just anybody, even them, even myself, just like it happens to a lot of us that we just want to get accepted, and we've slowly like our personality, like our true personality, like fades away.
That's so sad.
Because we're trying to become them that we slowly are.
The scary part is like the idea of them is not even real. It probably isn't real, should I say. Like there's some people who are living their authentic selves, and they're presenting themselves warts and all. And then there's some that are just showing the highlight reel. And that is a tricky, slippery slope to want to aspire to, because nobody's perfect 24/7, 365.
Exactly.
You know? And I don't know if I'm guilty of radically changing my personality to fit in. I think I accepted, like, I don't think I'm going to fit in. But I have tremendous empathy for people who feel that impulse, you know? Rejecting your old self in favor for something that might not really be there, or is fleeting, or by the time you get there, now cool, it's changed.
Yeah.
That's tricky. I'm surprised that, can you give me an example of a time where, or some sort of situation where that was you?
Where that was me? Maybe like in middle school?
Yeah. But that's part of the growing up process when you're in middle school. You're trying to find your tribe. You're trying to find you want to be accepted because you don't want pain. You don't want to be rejected. You don't want to be that person that sits alone on eating lunch. You know what I mean? So,
or even with parents, like they're like, oh, do this and that. So I would try to please them, that I forgot who I wanted to be. Like they'll be like, do this, like go to school, go to college, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, I want to please my parents, you know, because I want to make them happy.
Did you try college?
Yeah, I got my general studies, and then I went to Texas State for the third year for interior design. But I remember I was sitting in my classroom, and I was like, okay, I don't like this. Like, I just put my pencil down. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, I like it, but it's not my passion. So I just finished the semester. I'm like, I don't want to do this, because school's always going to be there for you. Always.
I think that's true.
And maybe even cheaper.
I think that's true.
And I'm like, I want to do something that makes me happy. So I told my parents, and thankfully they're like, okay, just if you want to move to LA, do it. Be safe. Just know that we're here. If you ever feel the need to come back, don't have pride.
Have you felt that need to? Oh, that's
not
really
yet.
That's good advice as a parent. But you haven't felt that way yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, cool.
I do feel like sad sometimes because I see my friends like, oh, they're in Austin. Yeah. My family's in Austin. Like they're having like a get together. But then I'm like, no, like it's okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's where like I start talking to God. Be like, God, help me. I'm very spiritual. Like at those days that I'm just like feeling blue, I would just like step outside, like sit down and just like talk to God. Like just talk to him. Be like, hey God, like I'm feeling this way, like please like help me out through the day. Like just
does God help you?
Yeah, always 24/7.
That's awesome.
I feel like he's always there. Like it's like your parents, like your mom when you were little and you're like, mom said no to you, so you walk to your room, you're like, leave me alone, I don't want to talk to you. And mom is like at the door like, hey Alondra, like I want to talk to you. Like no, get away from me, like you're such a bad mother, like I hate you. And then she's like, okay. And that's how God is. God will respect you. He'll stop like knocking at your door. But as soon as you open that door, mom's there. God is there. He's like, okay, you're ready to talk. And then he walks in, she walks in, and then,
Wow.
So that's God. God is like, he's going to respect you. He's not going to like force you. But your sin is not compared to like, he's always going to forgive you. He's always there to help you. He loves you beyond. And sometimes all you need is to talk to him. I want to say. I
agree. Usually when I talk to God, when I'm meditating, he just tells me to let it go. I always hear like the word surrender, like just don't even give that energy. And there's this abundance right in front of you. Just that's what you really want.
Yeah.
So just get that. It's right there. It's always there. And I'm like, oh yeah, all this other shit doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just let it slide. Like he's gonna help you. Like trust me. Don't trust me. Trust him. Like it's always gonna work out. Like whatever you're going through, trust me. A lot of people have gone through that too. Like everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own story, and they find a way. They find a way to get through it. All you have to do is just try. And don't give up. Like you don't have to run, you don't have to sprint. All you have to do is like crawl. And slowly you're gonna be walking, slowly you're gonna be running, slowly you're gonna be sprinting, and then bam, you're gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna make it. Like even the people that are like very inspirational, a lot of them like they were homeless or they didn't have anything, but they had that hunger. They had that like, I'm gonna do it. Like I have to, like, there's no way for me to, like, even have, like, am I or am I not? Like, they had to.
That's right.
So, like,
Do you think you were born with that hunger?
Maybe. I think so. Regardless if I was or not, I'm hungry now, so.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
But for sure, when I was little, like, I knew, like, I wanted to help people and inspire people, but I didn't know how.
Do you know how right now?
I don't know how yet.
Is it possible?
It's possible.
That acting might not be the thing that gets you all the power to influence people?
For sure. Are
you open to that?
Oh, for sure. Whenever people tell me like...
Because I feel like if it's acting, great, but if it's not and it's this thing, but I have the power to influence, cool. Yeah. I feel like that's how you feel about it.
Yeah. Like, for sure, like if acting is not for me, then cool. But I know like... I want to help and influence people. Maybe not. Acting is not even going to go on for me, But I'm sure that in a year, 2 years, I'm going to find what I'm searching for. Like how.
When you go back to Los Angeles next week?
Yes. Yes.
When you go back, what's going to be the first thing you do? Like walk me through like the first 48 hours you're there.
48. Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested.
I'm on the plane. I arrive. My friend's gonna pick me up. We're probably gonna get something to eat. Then after that, I'm gonna go to church. And I was
gonna ask. So you do go to church? You got a good church over there?
Not like constant like Sundays, but they do have a room where I don't know how do you say it in English, like Eucharistia, and that's
I've never heard of that.
For Catholics, that's where they expose like the.
So you go to Catholic church?
Not like Sunday mass, but that's where it's a room and they have God there, and then it's like silent, so you just talk.
Cool.
So that's what I'm gonna do.
You're gonna do that after you eat with your friend. Your friend gonna go with you?
No, he'll probably like drop me off. Yeah.
Okay, and then
and then I'll be there for like at least an hour or so, And then after that, I don't know what time it is, but I'm just gonna like think and just like, just probably like go for a walk.
Okay.
And just like,
you go home, you crash out, and then you wake up. What do you do with the new day? Like, what's your morning routine?
I'm in LA castings, so I usually like do auditioning.
Really?
Auditions, yeah. Wow. Or just like try to like network and stuff like that.
Is the audition process scary?
No.
It's not? I'd be terrified.
Yes.
Oh, let me tell a story.
Okay, yeah.
So the last time I was here, we're at it's just called The Space, Austin Space or something over here. Last time I was over here, I've always wanted to tell this story on air, was in 2014, and I was casting a movie, and we didn't know who we were looking for, but I forgot how we did it. We did it online where I was like, oh, I like these people. They applied, they did a monologue or whatever. And I selected maybe 20 people, different ethnicities. And I was like, maybe this person's a woman, the character. Even though I wrote a man, maybe they're a woman. Let's just see what happens. And it was me and 2 other producers, and I won't name them, but they know who they are. And people who know me know who they are. And I'd never done an official, formal casting call where we're behind a table like this, and it's 3 people, and they come and they read, and then that's it. So I remember the first person came, and they were very nervous, and they kind of ruined their lines, and it was a shit show. And I said, hey, it's okay. Like, don't even worry about sticking to the script. Like, just do it again, but just do it your way. And they're like, okay. And I remember that one of the producers looked at me and was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? What are you doing? And I was just like, what the hell? They did it again, and it was better, and they felt like more relieved. I guess they got the bad one out of the way, and I was like, okay, that's great. And I was like, how much experience do you have? And they had said, well, actually, this is my first audition ever. I have no experience. And I was like, that's really cool. The truth is, and this is mean, and it was better, but it was still really bad. Okay. It was really bad. And I told him, man, like, maybe acting isn't the right thing for you. Okay, saying this out loud, this is pretty bad. And they're like, well, I mean, I really love it. And I said, well, if you really love it, then don't stop. Then do another one. I was like, I don't think it's right now, but just do another one. If you really love it, then don't stop. And they're like, okay. And they left. And I felt like it was good. Like, I felt good about that. I felt like, cool. Like, they're walking away with something. They're not right for this. And my producer was like, dude, you do not say anything during auditions. As soon as they're done, just say thank you, and then they leave. And I was like, well, who said that? Like, where does it say that? I didn't know that. And they're like, well, that's the way it is. Now, these producers were actors first. They had never made a movie before, but they were actors who wanted to make a movie. So they knew the audition process. And I was like, well, I don't want to do it like that. Like, that seems weird. Like, if I'm going to pay money for an actor, like, I want to see if I can direct them. I want to see if they're good. And now I want to see if we have like magic and like a rapport between us. Then another person comes, same thing. They ruined their lines. And I said, can you do it again, except this time? And they were like, they had their script in their hands, and it was a long monologue. It was a page. And looking back, it should have just been like a line. And I was like, can you do it again, but do it like this, whatever. I told them, like, a little bit less. Don't worry about the page. Just say words that feel right to you. And she did it again, and she crushed it. She killed it. She knocked it out of the park. And I hired her for the movie, and she was in the movie, and she was great, one of my favorite characters in it. And I just remember the producers being like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, this is a time-sensitive thing. We're just supposed to get these people out like that. And I remember feeling like, why would you want to put them through the same punishment that you go through? You know what I mean? If you don't like that process, like, I don't want to treat these people like meat. Like, I don't like that. Why does it have to be that way? Like, Universal isn't paying for my movie. I'm paying for it. Like, so why do we have to treat them like cattle? Like, I'm not really into that. But so that was my first impression of a casting call. And needless to say, we found our 5, 6, 7 actors, and they were great, different ethnicities, and it was really cool. And I was proud of them, and they turned out good work. And, I handpicked them myself, and I was happy with what they did. And there were some people that I didn't like mean to coach, but there were just some people that I kind of just wanted to give them like life advice in general at the same time, because I was just very emotionally involved. I mean, at the time I didn't live in Austin, but I drove to Austin to rent this place to do that, to meet people halfway. People came from Chicago, people came from New Orleans, and I just wanted I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. That's true. I didn't know what I was doing, but it didn't feel right to just treat these people like shit either. And there were some people that just crushed it, came in, they did their thing, they wowed me, and I gave them the part like there because I was like, you're the guy. And there's some people I was just like cringing, and I was like, falling asleep, like this is not right, you know? So the reason why I asked you, kind of a bit of a loaded question of how your auditions are, is because I know like the world is tough, especially in LA when you're doing it the quote unquote right way. In indie world, we make up our own rules. Yeah. It's our world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we're making the Christmas presents, so it's our shots, right? Sure. We call them. But over there, you know, there's a way you do it. You slate, and then you walk away, mm-hmm. right? And then you wait for a phone call, I guess. Yeah. Walk me through that process. What was your first audition like, and you know, how do you handle rejection?
Well, normally the process is like, well, you have to like wait. So there's usually, it's funny though, because they're like, okay, we're looking for Hispanic, medium hair, brown eyes. So when you get there, there's so many of them like look mm-hmm. like you're like, oh my goodness, you could be my sister, you could be my cousin.
We should all make a movie together.
That's all, for sure. So after that, everybody's usually really quiet. Like everybody's either
it's
like
tense.
Sometimes yeah, because usually people are like reading on their phones or just like. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, hey guys, like, you want to be my friend? But usually it's like people are just very just like to themselves because they see you as competition, so they don't want to become your friends.
Fair enough.
So I'm just like, well, I'm just here, you know, like so. And their room is very like quiet, very like maybe you'll hear, maybe you'll hear like two people like conversation, you know, just talking, and then after that you go inside. It's usually like the camera guy and then like 3 people, and then you just say your name, your slate, and the monologue, and then after that you just walk away. You don't even say hey. You know, you just walk away, and then after that it's history. You're just waiting for a phone call, you know. But rejection, that's tough. Rejection, you're not always gonna be a golden coin to everybody. You're not always gonna please everybody. So for me, it's just like, okay, if it didn't work out, well, there's always a next one, you know. Like rejection, and even then you just have to realize that they already have a look, so it might not even be your talent. You're just like, you just don't fit, like you're just not it, you know. And
a lot of times they don't even know what they want.
So you can't really take that personal. If you start taking that personal and being like, oh, I'm not good enough. And
do you really feel that way? You don't take it personal?
I don't. I really don't.
See, that I think that means you're really going to fucking make it then.
Like,
because you kind of need to not really take it personal sometimes, you know?
Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, have a blessed day. Maybe in your next project, like, I'll be the right fit. If not, then whoever got the part, that's
Are you
really
auditioning for commercials mostly?
Commercials mostly because they get paid a little bit more.
They get paid, period.
And a little bit more. And it's very like, it's in and out kind of like, because the project won't take like months. It's usually
take a day, 2 maybe.
And it's just like in and out and cash, and then that's it. You move on. And they're more fun. They're more chill. They're more like, I don't know, more relaxed and stuff.
Less tense for sure.
And more like commercial. Like, I don't know. It's fun. But yeah, you can, even in life, you can't even always like take anything so personal. Like from whatever like somebody tells you, like, oh, you're this and that, or you just have to like let it slide. Like, okay, cool. Like, I respect your opinion. I respect what you think, but I apologize. And that's all I can do. Like, I'm not going to change who I am for you, you know? Like,
that takes a lot of guts to say that. It takes a lot of confidence. I could not do that.
But even then, like, I feel like people, they are who they are because of their background. Like, maybe when they were little, they were raised a certain way, or like they didn't really have a good childhood, or something happened in their life, and they carry that until now when they're older. And they don't mean to be mean, but that's how they grew up, and it's
the way they're wired.
So it's okay to be like, okay, this person is like this, and instead of like judging them, like to help them and be like, hey man, like, I don't know what you went through, but just know that if you ever need anybody, like somebody to talk to, like, I'm here. Like, you know, like, I'm sorry for whatever happened, but don't take that personal, because they're not mean to you. They're being mean, I want to say, because like of whatever happened in their childhood.
That's right.
So that's why I don't take it personal, because I'm like, I don't know what you went through in the morning. Like maybe you had a really bad fight with your girlfriend, or I don't know. So I'm not going to take that against me. It doesn't have
to be about you necessarily, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just like, I apologize. Have a blessed day. And, that's all I can do.
I got to say, man, having a 1 hour conversation with anybody when there's no phones and there's no interruption, like, is a really therapeutic thing for me. Like, I really get a lot out of it. So I want to thank you for being on this podcast with me, your first ever podcast.
Yeah, 2019.
When you're on that Jessica Alba shit in the future, I'm going to say, but guess who? Ask her who her first podcast was. It was this guy right here. And I was a nobody and she was a nobody and blah. And I'm all about that origin story 100%. But I do want to ask you, just kind of closing off, the people that are going to listen to this are people like you and me, hungry creatives that have that passion, that show up, and whether if they're right for the part or not, they're going to go and they're going to give their best them for themselves, right? So what advice do you have for another Alondra that's out there who is in her room and someone's asking her like, hey, do you want to go do this? Do you have time to meet up for this? And they want to, but they don't have the guts. They want to stay and they want to be cozy and they don't want to go outside. What do you say to them? I want to end it on you giving advice, because you're really good at taking it. What can you say to them?
First, whenever I'm like yes or no, I always get a piece of paper and put the cons and the pros. And then after that, I'm like, okay, why do I want to do this with anything? Like, why do I want to say yes, or why do I want to say no? Like, I might say no because like I'm lazy, or because I just don't feel like it, or am I saying no because I'm scared to go out, because it's out of my comfort zone, because I just don't feel comfortable, but I really do want to go out, but I'm just like shy, and so if it's that, if it's because you don't feel comfortable, you're scared, but you really do want to, like if your mind is like, no, don't go, like what if this happens, but your soul and your heart is like, just do it, just follow your heart and soul, but always be safe. So that'll be for anything, just follow your soul. Just follow your soul. Listen to your mind, but follow your soul for sure.
I'm going to do that myself.
Yes.
I'm glad that this is the first thing that I've recorded in 2019. I feel like we're going to start the year off right.
Yeah, we are, dude.
Awesome. Text me when you get to LA safely.
I know. When I'm at church.
When you're at church. Just say, I'm at church, and I'll know that she's all right.
For sure.
Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you for inviting me in. 2019, here we go.
Here we go.